Next speaker is already kind of present here the whole day because it's the biggest friend of our Baltic Security Conference. And to follow on the conference, we would like to invite safe, secure, and mobile Samsung Knox on topic of Samsung Knox between zero trust and data-driven intelligence. We have talked about technologies today a lot, and there is someone from the industry who could also do a presentation. And I would like to invite on the stage the Senior Director of Samsung, Mr. Phil Lander. Hello. So you're still using the paper while I'm using the tab.
Terrible,
yes.
isn't it?
No, why?
No idea.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to use it, actually.
Good. Okay, on the security, yes.
Yeah.
Please, welcome on the stage.
It's invisible ink. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction. As mentioned, I'm Phil Lander, head of the Samsung mobile B2B business here in Europe. This is my first time in Riga, so thank you very much for the invitation and great to be here with you today. I'm going to spend some time today talking about disruption. The good and the bad of disruption, which I think we've all seen in recent years. And let's be honest, that is what the last few years have really been about. Disruption in terms of change within society, within organizations. But it's not just a pandemic story. If anything, the pandemic was an accelerant of change rather than a catalyst of change itself. And let me talk a little bit more about why we believe that is the case. We were already seeing, prior to 2020, significant changes in the labour force market, fundamental changes, generational changes within that marketplace. And that has led to reimagining the workplace. What does the workplace look like? How should people engage? How should you interact with that working environment? What technology should be used within that space? In just a few years, millennials will make up 75% of the workplace. And Gen Z, or Gen Z if you're from the UK, are just behind them on that basis. So not only are they thinking about, well, what kind of work do I do? What industry sector do I want to be in? They're asking questions about how do I want to work? Where do I want to work? Why do I want to work? And so these changes are presenting challenges and opportunities to the business, to businesses and public sector organizations. Now, the buzzwords of last year, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, would be the Great Resignation and quiet quitting. Now, these have led organizations to really think about how do they engage with their people? How do we address topics like attracting talent into your business, retaining them, training them, engaging them, and enabling them within the workplace? That creates lots of opportunity within itself. One of the things that's become very apparent in that space is that technology is a critical factor in all of those elements. And in a number of the surveys that we take part in or study ourselves, increasingly the technology that's deployed within a business and the ability to collaborate and work across different locations and geographies is a major reason why this younger generation in the working place are attracted to organizations. And often this is leading to a mobile-first approach. And in many instances, this is a mobile-only approach. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through today. But of course, the aim of Samsung and the aim of many organizations, most organizations, is, well, you want to be able to enable new experiences, improve workflows, improve worker efficiency. But at what cost of doing that? What are the implications on security? What are the implications on privacy? How about our corporate networks? What does it mean to have more and more devices or more regularly used devices accessing the infrastructure? And I'll talk more about that as we progress. Now, has it been a trying few years? I think we would all nod our heads and say, of course it has, on many different levels within that. But we've been truly inspired by the innovation that we've seen from our customers. They've started to ask and answer a lot of questions during this period of time. Clearly seeing there's a need to change, but asking the questions around, well, what does it mean for our processes? What does it mean for our infrastructure? What does it mean for our employees if we want to move in this direction? And what does it mean about our legacy and how we interface with our customers at this time? So lots of questions, big conundrums for many organizations to wrestle with. And we've been working alongside many of those. And I really reiterate the point that truly inspired by the innovation and creativity that has come to bear. And what's great is we're seeing that many of our customers are answering these and putting in place best practices and reference cases for using. Huge learnings along the way as well, of course. And it doesn't matter, in my belief, what industry you're in, whether it's manufacturing, technology, service sector, public sector, private sector, large, small organizations, workplace transformation is happening at a rate of knots, accelerated without question by the pandemic, but not the only reason that's taking place. And we're really seeing that a mobile-first approach is at the heart of that activity. And just to give you an example of that, which I'm confident you can all relate to, when we think about frontline workers, we think about hybrid workers, remote workers, frontline blue light services, emergency service operators. These have had to fundamentally shift in the technology that they utilize. Perhaps, and I'm certainly of the view that the answer to this is yes, they were the hidden heroes pre-2020. Going about their business, recognized by everyone, but not necessarily held in the right esteem that they should be for the work that they do. As we moved through that period of time, it became very apparent that the food service workers, the logistics and delivery people, the health professionals are providing core and fundamental services that we all rely and depend upon. Now, in this sector, we saw a huge leap in technological advancement, a demand, and in some cases, an emergency demand for additional technology, mobile technology that could be utilized. And that was the primary motive for that at the time, was to be able to function and operate in that new world. But it allowed the discovery of a lot of other benefits on the back of that. Perhaps not originally intended to be that way, but higher efficiencies, improved workflow management, increasing employee satisfaction and engagement, allowing people to feel more confident that they can do their work and set about their mission in a very simple and effective way that supports them to do that. But also for many organizations, it benefited their customers. Improved customer engagement, improved customer experience. So many benefits that along the way perhaps weren't originally foreseen. From a Samsung perspective, we were also able to see and learn that our tailored solutions, our tailored devices and software solutions made a big difference as they were optimized for customers to use. We also learned along the way with our partners, the challenges of that rapid development and growth in fleet management capabilities, but all important learnings to take from that time. Our philosophy as Samsung is that work opens up with Galaxy. We're working with organizations across Europe and globally to help them realize the potential and help them answer the questions. Many are faced with significant investment decisions right now, or they're planning for a 3 to 5 year timeline and horizon. Our value proposition is very simple. No compromise devices and solutions that the modern workforce need. We are enabling the workers of today to be able to pick up their mobile devices, such as the great Samsung Galaxy Fold 4, which I'm sure you'll all know and love, and to simply head out and go about their mission, go about their daily work to be able to achieve that in a very simple manner. And I think that's the aim, as I said earlier, of many organisations. We need to try and find a way to enable and unlock and realise these things. But of course, there are potential challenges and changes and dynamics that I will come to in a moment. We're also steadfast in our belief of an open platform and working with partners. Our approach to partners is a multi-level approach. Global partnerships, regional partnerships, and local partnerships that allow us to work with customers and deliver solutions that meet their particular need. We know that we cannot do this alone, and as I go through my presentation today, hopefully you'll see as these evolving and emerging threats that are coming to bear right now, it highlights the needs for increased activity and collaboration with partners. Overall, we operate around 3 tenets in our B2B offering, and that is to make sure that our propositions to customer and our approach to customers are versatile, optimized, and secure. And security being at the heart of what we do, with Samsung Knox being the crown jewels within our overall proposition. So as we're in a security-themed conference today, I'll now talk more about the security angle. As mentioned, security has been core to what we've been doing at Samsung to build up our capability to meet the needs of business customers around the globe. But privacy has now become top of mind. And it's often easy to forget that you can't have privacy without strong and uncompromising security. So that's something that we've been working very, very hard to deliver. And all the time, new threats are emerging. And this is where we see the next evolution in our security proposition around a zero trust paradigm. This is so important now and going into the future, and we've started aggressively moving in that direction and rapidly moving to make changes to our proposition. Why? Because we believe the traditional approach of just trying to put a wall around your assets that you want to protect is insufficient. We need something that's more proactive, something that's more vigilant. It was interesting listening to the last presenter talk about the expected and increasing number of threats over the next few years. There are many things that we haven't had the opportunity to deal with and protect against, and they're evolving all the time. We believe that the zero trust paradigm will take us in that direction. Factors that are influencing that are more and more customers are moving to the cloud. Allied to that, increasingly fast 5G data speeds and very, very powerful mobile devices, endpoints if you like, when you think about it from a corporate infrastructure perspective. But newer threats are emerging without question. And putting together those features creates an incredibly data-rich environment. Add on top of that, big data, AI, and machine learning. We've got a hugely powerful set of tools for the security game. Things that we haven't necessarily had coming together at that pace in the past. Then the piece that becomes really interesting within this as well is that with these powerful endpoints, these powerful devices, there is a huge and rich data set that can come from those devices. And that provides the ability for customers to benefit from those insights that they can learn and maximize their investments. So we believe that this is the point where data-driven intelligence will really make a leap forward in security propositions. And our belief within this is that security is only as good as the insights that you get and how you use those insights to respond to the threats. Threats you know today, emerging threats in the future. So let me repeat that. Security is only as good as the insights that you get and how you use those threats to respond, how you use those insights to respond to those threats. As I've highlighted so far, these powerful mobile devices provide the ability to create new use cases for customers, to provide new ways for workplace transformation, to allow users to do more, to do things that they previously were unable to do, to unlock benefits to businesses around workflow efficiencies, worker efficiency, enhanced customer offerings, as I talked about earlier. But these mobile devices also provide the ability to be the cornerstone of a robust security strategy. And this is where we believe that Samsung Knox stands at the intersection between zero trust and data-driven intelligence. So let me talk a little bit now as to why we see that zero trust is so important. Samsung Knox has been part of our product portfolio very proudly and humbly for us for a decade now. The mission when we set out with Samsung Knox was to create the most trustworthy mobile devices and platform on the market for our business customers and our consumer users to take advantage of that. We delivered. More than 1 billion devices globally have activated Knox, are relying on Knox to protect them from cyber threats. When we look at that purely on a B2B basis for our business customers, that's over 35,000 organizations globally in 110 countries. So very proud of that. It's the jewel in the crown of our security, of our software offering from Samsung. But the world is changing, as I've described, and there are continually new threats appearing. Mobile devices and mobile-led workplace transformation is continuing to accelerate. The mobile device we are seeing more and more is often the first device that is used. In many cases, it's the only device that's been used. So a plethora of devices and access requests into an organization. And that creates opportunity. Again, you saw it at the end of the last presentation, the opportunities that are emerging from global economic situations or the evolution of technology. So the mission is to make sure that these advanced mobile solutions can be delivered, that we can create these opportunities, but there needs to be a new way to look at security, a new security imperative. And that strategy for us is about shifting from a focus of perimeter defense, of building a wall, to actually thinking about endpoints and how we secure endpoints, how we utilize endpoints to provide access into company resources and do so dynamically and proactively. So this for us is where zero trust enters the stage. And it operates on a very simple proposition: never trust, always verify. Now, if you think about the legacy security model, an employee, a colleague, a rogue agent gets access into a corporate infrastructure simply by entering their credentials, and then they're given full unrestricted access to that environment and continue to use and access whatever they need. So access into the corporate LAN, for example. In a zero trust environment, the model changes very significantly. And every single request into the network is considered suspect. And therefore, that request is using intelligence to actually, and contextualized information to understand whether that device is secure, whether that user is secure, whether that device is uncompromised in any way. And let me emphasize that from a zero trust perspective, it is an end-to-end solution that is required. I'm spending a lot of time talking about the endpoint and talking about the mobile device, but it's an end-to-end proposition. Everything from the cloud through to the mobile device, the endpoint that is, needs to be secured. But there are some misconceptions around that. Our CTO, Jerry Park, was recently meeting with a senior executive of a global bank. And the executive said to Jerry, he said, "Jerry, but if I secure the cloud and I secure the on-premise server in a zero trust environment, do I really need to secure the endpoint?" Now, of course, the answer is a resounding yes. If you don't secure the endpoint, if you don't secure any part of that journey, of that technical infrastructure, then you have a vulnerability. We're not the only people looking at this. High-profile example of here, the Biden administration 2 years ago mandated that government agencies move to a zero-trust model. That is for any government agency that is accessing sensitive information. We are seeing many organizations, and we're working alongside and talking to many organizations in both public and private sector that are exploring and moving in the direction of zero trust. Perhaps if you're not considering that model right now, now might be a good time to start. And certainly at Samsung, we're happy to start that conversation and that journey with you. To provide a little bit more insight on how this comes together and where the critical component part is enabling this is that whenever an access request is made, so from that endpoint into that corporate LAN, for example, contextualized data is required from the endpoint. And then at that point in time, least privilege access can be granted or denied by the system. But the key is that contextualized data is coming in. And that is the critical connection between zero trust and data-driven intelligence. Now, when we think about end security, and this is very much a key point of zero trust, is that it's about providing access to resources based on a few factors, a few pieces of information that are coming from that device. The device identity, the device health, i.e., is this in a good state, is this an uncompromised device, and upon the user authentication. So adding additional information and dynamic parameters compared to the legacy model that I described a few moments ago. We believe that to do this, there are three critical components within that. You need to have hardware-based security, which is below the OS. Really, really important distinction. You need granular access controls that are using and taking advantage of contextualized information to grant or deny that access. And you need advanced mobile threat detection technology that is continuously monitoring, continually checking those devices for their state and protecting against particular threats or dynamic threats as they happen. Now, Samsung Knox has many of those features embedded in its capability today, which we're pleased to say. But we need to go further in that respect. From day one, we've built a hardware-based root of trust model and a management capability on top of that, enabling all of those businesses that I described earlier to take advantage and feel confident that they are protected to go about driving their business forward. But recently, we've added some intelligence into our platform that exemplifies data-driven intelligence. And that is Knox Asset Intelligence, or KAI as we affectionately call it for short. KAI doesn't seem to be appearing. So what does KAI deliver to us? Well, it provides to us and to our customers a granular and rich set of data. And that data is based upon device usage patterns and user behaviors. And this is enabling a few things in terms of it's enabling the added value of this additional level of security that is described under zero trust, but is also allowing our customers to maximize the investment, to utilize those insights, to take action, to offer new services, to add in additional controls within the business. An example of this, we have a major global retail customer who is using Knox Asset Intelligence fully and taking advantage of the data that's provided to it to enhance worker efficiency, to enhance their workflows. All of these insights are critical in a zero trust environment as they assist the access intelligence components of a zero trust infrastructure that enable that to be able to provide confident, reliable, robust, security mechanisms to be more dynamic, to be more proactive in the current world. But the key point, as I mentioned, was that we need to contextualize the data that's coming from these endpoints. Today, we have the ability within Kai to take a data feed from our endpoints, which is very much device status, usage behaviors, usage patterns. In the future, we're going to add in prescriptive analytics and predictive analytics and prescriptive intelligence. That's easy for me to say. And so what will this mean? Well, it will enable us, for example, to control access policies, to take action when we need to. If, for example, you have an errant or mischievous colleague or employee that is entering an area of the business they do not have access rights to be within. Using that intelligence from the endpoints, you can take that data and predict that what's going to happen and make access controls changes within that space. You could, for example, choose to switch off the camera, disable Bluetooth, disable wireless connectivity of network and Wi-Fi infrastructure, for example, giving you the power to be dynamic in taking control of that particular situation. And then we can go a little bit further with that around prescriptive analytics. So if someone is, we can start to look at connection analysis and app usage pattern and start to predict what the user might do in that scenario. And therefore, make changes to access controls, changes to that user's privilege that actually prevents incidents happening before they have occurred. Now, I mentioned earlier that open partnerships and openness is fundamental to what we do. It's fundamental to being versatile, to being optimized for our customers, and of course, in being secure. Again, we believe 100% that we can't do this alone. This is really exemplified in a zero trust ecosystem, whereby of all of the agents, of all of the factors from cloud, on-premise servers, endpoint devices, management control systems, etc., partnership is needed to bring that to life. And so we're working with partners globally, specialist partners locally, and at a European regional level to ensure that we can deliver what we are intending to be the most robust end-to-end zero trust architecture that our customers need and benefit from. Fundamental to our approaches in this is that security is for all. Without question, security is for all. Be that public sector organizations, private sector organizations, multinational organizations, large, small, mid-sized organizations. Security now is more pressing than ever. And I think you'll know and be aware of this, of course. And that is very much the essence of Samsung Knox and our Samsung Knox devices. We want to make this available to everyone, create these new business opportunities in the marketplace that enable businesses to take advantage of workplace transformation, but also to enable them to drive benefits within their business, drive benefits particularly around workforce engagement, and also offer those benefits through to customers that I described earlier. But it's not just a one-dimensional offering that we have here. You know, the world has changed and we need to make sure that we're moved on from that perimeter-based approach that I described earlier. We've got to enable all of that change, all of those desires and creativity and innovation that we're seeing in our customers and partners. We as Samsung need to be flexible and adapt to that. Our security platform, Knox, needs to adapt to that space as well. So Samsung Knox as it is today, with the power of Kai, Knox Asset Intelligence enables us to go even further. And as we move into the future and add in those predictive and prescriptive capabilities, we're very confident that we can deliver this robust zero trust infrastructure. And so finally, from my presentation today, I wanted to say that the future of Knox is very much here. We're on a journey to develop that, and we'd love for you to be part of that. We really believe that Samsung Knox is at the intersection of zero trust and data-driven intelligence. We're on that journey, and we're enabling customers every day, and we want to do more and create more within this space, be at the heart of innovation for B2B customers around the world. Hopefully what you've seen in the last 30 minutes or so is some insights to some trends in the marketplace that we're taking really, really seriously to consider the implications that they have on our business, the implications that we have on our customers' business, and in how we can support that. I've touched upon some real customer use cases to highlight how this is a reality today. I'm not just talking about something that's 5-10 years down the road. We're working actively across our European footprint with salespeople and product managers, etc., working with customers every single day to make this happen. But the key to what we do and our ultimate aim is that we can meet the needs of our customers, again, across a broad range of segments and verticals. And so we encourage you to come on that journey with us. We'd love to start the conversations with you today about how we can collaborate together to deliver this next generation, this workplace transformation for customers. So thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate being here in Riga, and hopefully you found something interesting in this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, the senior manager of Samsung. When he entered the stage, I asked why he has, don't have a tablet, but the papers. And now I know the answer, because trust no one. I heard it so many times, how you have to check your security. You're quite secure to not put your presentation in any device. Maybe that could be an answer.
Well, no, that's a good point. I should have used my device for it.
It's very useful, actually. It's really easy to do that. But now we would like to say thank you with a small diploma. Yes, and the photo moment. While that is happening, now we have a short coffee break, so we can go into the Samsung lounge and check how it goes in their action, the Samsung Knox. For you who hasn't done that yet, I really invite you to do that. And we see you back in 20 minutes, in 2:40 p.m. Thank you. Yes, a round of applause for you. Thank you. It was very, very interesting. Yes, yeah, welcome.